Okay, so I chose to answer the question, what is Twain trying to say with Pap's brief return to propriety? Chapter 5, I believe. So, although Pap, I think, is kind of written as a comical character, I actually find him to be kind of terrifying. I grew up in an alcoholic home. One parent was an alcoholic. The other parent was deeply insecure and constantly criticizing any type of improvements or endeavors that my brothers and I would make. So, Pap is a character that I'm very familiar with in this situation. So now in chapter 5, Pap returns to propriety briefly, very briefly. Like the incident lasts less than one day in the story, and it's less than one page in the novel. The judge takes Pap under his wing. He shows him some kindness. Pap is sitting in the judge's, we assume, beautiful home, nice food, comfortable. Everything that Pap doesn't have in his life, has probably never had in his life. And then, so Pap has this epiphany about how his life should change. And from chapter 5 on page 23, and I have this fancy version here, so mine is page 23. So he took him into his own house and dressed him up clean and nice, and had him to breakfast and dinner and supper, 3 meals, which is probably something Pap doesn't normally have. And he talked to him about temperance and such things till the old man cried and said he'd been a fool and fooled away his life. So Pap thinks he's going to change. Now, is Pap serious about this? I don't think so. Not really. Maybe he's just swept up in the moment. Maybe he's just manipulating the judge to get some more free things. I don't know. So Pap cries, and the judge cries, and the judge's family cries, and a pledge of sobriety is drawn up, and Pap signs it, and it's like literally the first day of the rest of his life. Glory, glory, hallelujah, everything's going to be wonderful. And we know, of course, that this is ridiculous. That we have modern knowledge of addiction and mental disorders, so we know that this is not how it works. It's just nonsense. And I think that Twain is also writing it as if it's nonsense. He's poking fun at, first of all, the judge and people like him who have this simplistic, childlike fantasy view of how people are and how people work. He believes that people are primarily good, and you just need a little sympathy and make everything all better. And it's just not. That's just not how it works. And although the judge's actions seem altruistic, there is a certain arrogance to it, I think, in a dark undertone. On page 23, again, the judge says that he is going to make a man out of him, which is incredibly insulting, and it's not a good way to entice someone to listen to you. And then later, farther down on page 23, look at it, gentlemen and ladies all. Take a hold of it and shake it. There's the hand that was the hand of a hog, but it ain't so no more. It's the hand of a man. So he refers to Pap as an animal, a dirty animal, a hog. Terrible. Again, counterproductive and insulting. I think Twain is probably also poking fun at the temperance movement and the do-gooders and the holier-than-thous that were gaining steam at this time. That they have a very silly outlook on life and people and how to correct them, and their desire to impress their will and their view of how people should be on everyone else. Of course, Pap falls off the roof that night. He relapses, falls off the roof, he breaks his arm, which also breaks the pledge. And then the judge, who probably thinks of himself as this holy, decent man, after one mistake by Pap, just washes his hands of it and says, the only thing you can do to save him is kill him. Again, not very charitable, not really. I think the judge is rather shallow. Thank you.